The sharply dressed man in the corner booth adjusted his sunglasses, his jeers tapping rhythmically on the polished mahogany table as Evelyn stormed over, tray balanced precariously in her grip. "Sir, this section is reserved," she snapped, her voice slicing through the haze of cigarette smoke and jazz riffs from the lounge piano. Heads turned, regulars, high rollers, the after-hours crowd, but she didn't care. He'd been sitting there too long, nursing a single drink, drawing stares with his sleek suit and that eye patch glinting under the dim chandeliers. Evelyn had clocked him the moment he walked in, 30 minutes past closing time for walk-ins. Something about him irked her, the way he scanned the room like he owned it, the quiet confidence that made her shift supervisor glance twice. "We've got standards here at the Velvet Fox," she added, leaning in close enough to catch the faint scent of his cologne, expensive and unfamiliar. "Ish up and go, or I'll call security." A murmur rippled through the tables. One couple whispered, another stifled a laugh. The man didn't flinch. He just smiled faintly, revealing perfect teeth, and slid a crisp bill across the table, $50 for a $5 scotch. If you're glued to this story already, hit that subscribe button right now, share it with a friend who loves these real-life twists, and drop a comment below telling me where you're watching from tonight. Las Vegas, New York, or somewhere unexpected. He pocketed the change she tossed back without a word, his movements deliberate, almost theatrical. Evelyn watched him rise, tall and poised, brushing imaginary lint from his lapel. As he passed her station, he paused, voice smooth as velvet. "Miss, one day you'll serve kings and beggars with the same grace. Tonight I'm just passing through." She rolled her eyes, muttering under her breath about freeloaders as the door swung shut behind him. The room exhaled, conversations resumed, clinking glasses and laughter filling the void. But Evelyn felt a prickle at the base of her neck, like eyes still lingered on her from the shadows. By midnight, the lounge hummed with its usual rhythm. Dealers off shift from the casino next door, showgirls shedding sequins, the elite unwinding after the spotlight faded. Evelyn wiped down her station, replaying the encounter. She'd seen worse. Rowdy drunks, grabby tourists, celebrities who tipped in IOUs. But this one stuck. His face nagged at her memory, half hidden by that patch, familiar from posters or headlines she couldn't place. Probably some has-been crooner, she told herself, stacking chairs with sharp clangs. Her co-worker, Rita, sidled up, smirking. "You just chewed out a legend, Ev. That was Sammy Davis Jr. The name landed like a dropped tray, crash of cymbals in her mind. Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack darling, the one-eyed wonder who'd conquered Vegas stages, hobnobbed with Sinatra, danced through headlines from coast to coast. Evelyn froze, sponge dripping forgotten onto the floor. Rita laughed softly. "He comes in quiet like that sometimes, tests the waters, and girl, you failed." Heat flooded Evelyn's cheeks, not from shame exactly, but from the dawning realization of eyes that had witnessed it all, the patrons who'd recognized him instantly, the bartender polishing glasses with a knowing grin, her own boss emerging from the back office now, arms crossed. Mr. Harlan, the manager, fixed her with a stare that could curdle cream. "Evelyn, my office, now." She followed, pulse hammering, the lounge's glamour turning claustrophobic. Harlan's domain was a cramped nook off the kitchen, walls lined with faded photos, Sinatra mid-laugh, Marilyn blowing a kiss, and there, Sammy, arm around a younger Harlan at some long-ago gala. 20 years I've run this place," Harlan began, sinking into his creaky chair. "Built it from a dive into the spot where stars feel at home. Sammy? He's family. Invested when no one else would touch Vegas with a 10-foot pole." Evelyn swallowed, the room spinning slightly. She'd humiliated him, not just any patron, but the man whose name opened doors, whose talent packed houses. "He didn't say," she started, but Harlan cut her off with a raised hand. "That Sammy doesn't need to, but word travels fast." He leaned forward, voice dropping to a gravelly whisper. "You know who really owns the Velvet Fox? Not me, not the suits downtown. Sammy Davis Jr. holds the silent majority stake. Been that way since '62. The revelation hit harder than any rebuke. Evelyn's mind raced back, the rhythmic tap of his jeers, mimicking a drum solo she'd seen him perform on television, the bill, more than generous, a quiet test she botched. Harlan continued, unspooling the history she'd ignored, the underground networks of entertainers who'd pooled resources to claim their slice of the strip, defying the old guard. Sammy's stake wasn't flashy. It was strategic, a foothold in a city that once barred his kind from front doors, and she'd just slammed one in his face. Dawn crept through the blinds as Evelyn clocked out, the neon glow of the strip mocking her from the window. She trudged to her Chevy in the employee lot, replaying every word, every glare. Rita's warning echoed, "Legends don't forget." At home, a cramped apartment off Fremont Street, she collapsed onto the couch, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Sleep evaded her. Instead, visions of fallout, whispers in the casino, shifts cut, blacklisted from every lounge in town. By morning, the phone rang. Harlan's voice clipped. "Don't bother coming in today. We've got to talk about your future here." She dressed anyway, mechanical motions, driving back through traffic thickening with tourists. The Velvet Fox loomed, its sign flickering to life. Inside, the daytime crew bustled, but eyes followed her. Harlan waited at the bar, a contract spread before him. Options stark: voluntary exit or escorted out. "Sammy called this morning," he said. "Not angry, disappointed. Said to give you a chance to make it right." Evelyn's throat tightened. Make it right? How? Apologize to a man whose world she'd dismissed in seconds? That afternoon, word spread through the back channels, waitstaff gossip, dealer networks, that Sammy had been spotted at the Sands, rehearsing for a sold-out run. Evelyn volunteered for the coat check, avoiding tables, her pride a fragile shield cracking by the hour. Tension coiled in her chest, every door chime a potential reckoning. Then evening fell and he returned, not alone but with the Rat Pack shadows trailing. A Sinatra lookalike in fedora, a Dean Martin clone with a tumbler. They claimed the corner booth, the very one. Evelyn's heart stuttered. Harlan nodded from across the room. "Your move." She approached, tray steady this time, voice soft. "Mr. Davis, welcome back. May I offer the chef's special tonight, on the house?" He looked up, eye patch catching the light, that same faint smile. "Miss Grace comes in second chances, Scotch neat, and tell your boss the place shines brighter already." Relief washed over her, tentative as she poured, the lounge exhaling once more. But as the night wore on, Evelyn caught fragments, Sammy leaning into Harlan, words lost in jazz swells. "Tess passed this time, keep her, she's got fire." She realized then the true weight. Ownership wasn't just deeds and dollars, it was the power to forgive, to reshape fates with a nod. By last call, tips overflowed her apron, patrons warmer, her station the hub. Yet doubt lingered, a quiet tension. Had she truly earned it, or merely survived? Subscribe now if this twist has you hooked. Share with someone who needs a lesson in second chances, and comment your thoughts below. What would you have done in her shoes? Weeks blurred into routine, but Evelyn changed. She studied faces now, not dismissed them, memorized show schedules, learned the unspoken codes of Vegas nights. Sammy became a fixture, his visits sparking electric undercurrents. One evening he slipped her an envelope as she cleared his table. Inside, a ticket to his show, backstage pass clipped. "Front row," he murmured. "Watch and learn." The theater pulsed with energy, spotlights carving arcs through darkness. Sammy owned the stage, dance, song, charisma weaving spells. Evelyn watched from the wings post-show, awe replacing her former blindness. He spotted her, beckoned. "Kid, this town's about who sees what others miss. You do now." No lectures, just truth. Back at the Velvet Fox, she rose, head waitress, then trainer. Harlan retired. Sammy's stake ensured continuity. Evelyn never forgot the booth, the snap, the regret. It forged her, turning snap judgments to sharp insight. Vegas chewed up the careless. She endured, wiser, the silent owner's quiet approval, her anchor. Lynn pushed through the diner's swinging doors into the back alley, the neon buzz from the strip fading behind her like a distant hum. Her hands trembled as she lit a cigarette, the flame dancing in the chill night air. That booth, that snap of judgment, it replayed in endless loops. Sammy's polished shoes under the table, his quiet smile masking the storm she'd unleashed. But the real shadow lingered in the owner's nod, the one man who saw through the glamour and grit of Vegas. Years blurred after that night. Lynn climbed the ranks, not through charm or connections, but raw endurance. She memorized every face that passed through the diner. High rollers with diamond cufflinks, showgirls trailing perfume, the occasional ghost from the old Rat Pack days. The owner, Mr. Harlan, remained a cipher. Tall, silver-haired, always in a crisp suit, speaking in clipped sentences that revealed nothing. Whispers circled him like smoke. War hero, silent partner in the biggest casinos, a man who'd built an empire on unspoken deals. Lynn caught his eye once more, months later, when she deftly handled a rowdy gambler who'd mistaken the counter for his personal throne. "Keep that fire," he'd said, sliding a crisp bill across the counter. No more words. It fueled her. One humid evening in '68, the diner swelled with the after-hours crowd. Lynn balanced trays through the haze of cigar smoke, her apron stained with coffee rings. A newcomer slipped into booth 7, the same cursed spot. He was unremarkable at first. Rumpled jacket, eyes sharp behind wire-rimmed glasses, nursing a black coffee. But something prickled. His gaze followed her, not leering, but dissecting. "Refill?" she asked, voice steady. He nodded, then murmured, "You handled Davis like a pro." Most would have crumbled. Her tray nearly slipped. Sammy. How did this stranger know? She forced a smile, poured slowly. "Ancient history, coffee's on me." He leaned forward. "Nothing's ancient in this town. Harlan still watches, you know." Lynn's pulse quickened. Harlan. The name hung between them, heavy as the slot's endless chime outside. She retreated to the kitchen, heart pounding. Who was he? A journalist? A rival? Vegas thrived on secrets, and she'd just stepped into one. If you're hooked on this tale of Vegas shadows and second chances, hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, and drop a comment. Where are you watching from tonight? The stranger returned nightly for weeks, always booth 7. Lynn dubbed him Ellis mentally. No name offered, none asked. Conversations edged deeper. He'd drop fragments, a childhood in Reno shacks, a knack for numbers that landed him in backroom card games. "Harlan pulled me from the gutter," he said once, gears tracing the Formica scars. "Said I had eyes like a hawk." Lynn probed gently. "What's his story?" "Man of steel, that one." Ellis chuckled low. "Steel bends. Harlan's the quiet storm. Lost everything once. Family, fortune. Rebuilt on hunches. Sammy? Old ally from the war. They share scars no one sees." Tension coiled in Lynn. Was Ellis testing her? Loyalty to Harlan burned now. That nod years back had been her lifeline amid tip droughts and jealous co-workers. She started noticing patterns. Harlan's car idling across the street at dawn, Ellis slipping notes to busboys. Paranoia or protection. Then came the night that cracked the facade. The diner emptied late, rain lashing the windows like accusations. Ellis waited alone, face drawn. Harlan's in trouble. Big players circling, want his stake in the new hotel. Lynn froze mid-wipe. "What stake? He's the ghost owner." Ellis's eyes hardened. "Ghosts own more than you think. Sammy vouched for him back when doors stayed shut on folks like us. Now rivals sniff weakness." She sat across from him, uncharacteristic. "Why tell me?" "You're the one who saw through Sammy," Harlan noticed. "Needs someone sharp inside." Betrayal twisted in her gut. Sharp insight from humiliation, now a weapon. Refuse, and Vegas spat you out. Accept, and dive into shadows deeper than the desert night. Dawn broke grey as Lynn slipped into Harlan's office behind the diner, a door she'd never crossed. He sat silhouetted against ledgers, not surprised. "Ellis spoke true?" She nodded, throat dry. "What's the play?" His voice was gravel. "Watch. Listen. The humiliation you gave Davis. It proved you. No pity, just truth." Lynn's mind raced. Proved her how. The booth incident. Sammy hadn't been just a patron. Whispers solidified. He'd been scouting talent for Harlan's hidden network, performers who'd risen from nothing. Her snap had tested her mettle, and she'd passed unwittingly. Weeks turned frantic. Lynn shadowed suspects, a flashy promoter with oily charm, a banker nursing grudges. Tension mounted in stolen glances, coded napkins passed under trays. One night, the promoter cornered her. "Harlan's slipping. Join the winning side." Her retort was ice. "Slipping? He's the foundation." He laughed, but unease flickered. Lynn reported back, Harlan's nod her compass. Ellis grew restless, pacing booth 7. "They're closing in. Tonight's the vote. Hotel stake." Lynn's resolve hardened. Personal, difficult, yes, she'd forge her path. No miracles. The climax brewed in the diner's back room, smoke thick as alliances frayed. Harlan faced the circle, promoter sneering, banker stone-faced, Ellis tense. Lynn hovered at the threshold, tray as shield. "Are you built this on luck?" the promoter spat. "Time yields," Harlan's gaze pierced. "Luck? Insight. Like hers." He nodded to Lynn. She stepped forward, voice cutting clean. "You chase shadows. Harlan owns the light. The silent shares, the deals Sammy sealed. Cross him and Vegas forgets you." Gasps rippled. Proof tumbled from her apron pocket. Ledgers copied, signatures incriminating. Months of vigilance. The promoter blanched, banker bolted. Harlan's hand clasped her shoulder. First touch. Wiser than most. Ellis grinned from the corner. "Told you." Relief washed, but no easy triumph. Vegas demanded vigilance eternal. Yet in that booth's echo, Lynn found anchor. Not salvation, but strength carved from regret. As the rain eased outside, she wondered, what shadows lingered next? Harlan's empire pulsed on, her role etched deeper. And if this twist has you on edge, smash like, subscribe for more cinematic tales, share the intrigue and comment your guess. Who do you think Harlan really was? Linda's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the counter, the diner's fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows across Harlan's impassive face. He stood unmoving, his dark eyes holding a depth she had never noticed before. Layers of quiet authority beneath the apron he wore like camouflage. The last customers trickled out, leaving the air thick with the scent of cooling coffee and unspoken reckonings. Her pulse raced on, her role etched deeper into the night's unforgiving script. Harlan adjusted his sleeve, revealing a gold watch that glinted like a secret unveiled. "You think you run this place, Linda, with your sharp words and sharper judgments?" His voice was low, measured, each syllable landing like a pebble in still water, rippling outward. She swallowed hard, the earlier rush of defiance curdling in her throat. "Harlan, I was just protecting the business. Folks like him don't tip well, don't belong here." The words tumbled out, defensive, but they felt hollow now, echoing against the empty booths. He stepped closer, pulling a folded document from his pocket, a deed, crisp and official, stamped with the name of the diner. Protecting it from what? From success? From the man who built this from nothing? Harlan unfolded it slowly, letting her eyes trace the signature at the bottom. Samuel George Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. The entertainer, whose face graced magazines and marquees, whose voice filled the casinos just miles away. Linda's breath caught. The man she had turned away, the one with the sharp suit and easy smile, the one she had dismissed with a sneer about wandering entertainers. That was him. Sammy Davis Jr., owner of the very diner she lorded over every shift. Her knees weakened, the linoleum floor seeming to tilt beneath her. "You humiliated the man who signs your checks," Harlan continued, his tone devoid of anger, laced instead with a profound disappointment that cut deeper than any shout. "He came here tonight unannounced to check on his investment. In street clothes, no entourage, just to see how his place treats everyday folks. And you? You showed him the worst of it." Flashbacks assaulted her. Sammy's polite request for coffee, her curt refusal. The way she had gestured toward the door with a laugh that masked her unease. "We don't serve your kind after hours," she had said, loud enough for the room to hear. The other patrons had shifted uncomfortably, but none spoke up. Now it replayed in her mind like a looped reel, each frame sharpening her regret. Harlan folded the deed away. Sammy doesn't want a scene. He wants change. Real change, starting with you. He paused, letting the weight settle. Linda's mind raced, Images of her empty apartment, the stack of unpaid bills, the daughter waiting at home with dreams of college that hinged on her steady job. Prejudice had been her shield, forged in a small-town upbringing where lines were drawn clear as fences. But here, in the glow of Vegas lights, those lines blurred into opportunity lost. I didn't know," she whispered, voice cracking. Not an excuse, but a fracture in her armor. "Knowledge isn't the point," Harlan replied. "Actions are. Sammy built this diner to prove a point. Talent and hard work cross all barriers. He invested after performing here years back when the stage manager slipped him the deed as a thank you. Quiet partner always. Testing the waters tonight was his way of reminding himself why." The clock ticked past midnight. Harlan moved to the register, pulling out her Alpay check, early augmented with a severance that spoke of mercy, not malice. "You're done here, Linda. Not because of hate, but because trust is broken. Sammy's orders." She took the envelope, jers numb. No please, Rose. Pride warred with shame, but truth won. Walking out into the neon-drenched street, the desert wind whipped her apron like a flag of surrender. Cars hummed past, oblivious, while inside her, a storm brewed. Harlan's words echoed, real change. Days blurred into a haze. Linda pounded pavement, diner after diner, her references glowing but her story tainted by whispers. Rejection stung, mirroring the one she had dealt. Nights she sat with her daughter, recounting sanitized versions, planting seeds of fairness in young soil. "Judge the heart, not the face," she began saying, practicing on herself first. One evening, a tip came. Another spot, farther out, owned by a woman who valued second chances. Linda applied, transparent about her misstep. The owner, a sharp-eyed widow, listened without flinching. "We all stumble," she said, handing over an apron. "Prove you're steady now." Months ground on. Linda worked doubles, saved fiercely, watched her daughter thrive. Whispers of the old diner reached her. Packed nights, diverse crowds. Harlan at the helm with Sammy's occasional nod from afar. No grand apologies arrived. None were sought. Regret had forged something stronger. Resolve. One crisp autumn evening, as she balanced trays with newfound grace, a familiar figure entered, Sammy Davis Jr., this time unmistakable, flanked by admirers. Their eyes met across the room. No words passed, just a nod, subtle as starlight. Acknowledgement. Forgiveness unspoken, earned through miles walked alone. Linda turned back to her tables steadier than before. The past lingered, a shadow teaching light. In the rhythm of clinking plates and murmured thanks, she found her place, not handed but claimed. And as the diner lights dimmed that night, Harlan's lesson echoed in the quiet. True ownership lies not in deeds, but in the choices that de-us. If this tale of twists and turnarounds gripped you, hit like, subscribe for more cinematic stories, share with a friend, and comment below. From where are you watching this channel?